Hi, and welcome to my backyard. I'm Melinda, and you're watching Waking the Senses, a channel dedicated to enriching your life. And backpacking is certainly one of those ways.
One of the more common questions I get is what you eat out on the trail. So today we're going to cover the basics, kind of a generalization, backpacking food 101 if you will. All the information you needed to get you out there on the trail.
First thing you want is a food kit. You'll want to have some type of bag to keep your food and your cook kit in. It's nice if it's waterproof. You don't have to go out and buy a bag like this one. It's an Osprey 12 liter. I can put maybe 5 days worth of food in here. You can actually just use a couple of Ziploc bags, gallon Ziploc bags, maybe 2 or 3 of them, however many you need. But it is nice to have something waterproof. If you're in bear country, you do want some type of bag, and you'll want some kind of cord to hang your bag with. If your bag rolls up nicely, like this one, like a dry bag, and clips, you can just hang the cord through that loop. You can use carabiner. And I don't put the carabiner on this little D-clip because it's made out of plastic and it looks like it could break. It gets really heavy sometimes. So I go around the whole thing. If you're backpacking in areas where there's real bear problems, you'll want to check what the regulations are. Some areas will require you to bring a bear canister. Some will let you just bring a bag and hang it. So you'll want to learn how to do that. We won't be covering that in this video. Your cook kit will also consist of something to cook with. Here I've got a 2-cup Snow Peak titanium pot. It's really lightweight. It doesn't have to be something expensive. It can be any lightweight aluminum pot. You may or may not want a lid. A lot of people like having a lid because it traps the heat in there and cooks food a little bit faster. Your cook kit will also consist of a stove. Here we have the Snow Peak canister stove. This is, oh my gosh, I bought this in 05, so it's 15 years old and it's still going strong. So there's all different types of stoves. This stove is a canister stove, and as you saw, it folds up really small and packs away right into your pot. There's also alcohol fuel stoves, there's white gas stoves, and then there's even little stoves that you can burn twigs in. I can't review those because canister stove is all I have ever used, and it's worked so well for me I probably won't deviate from it. What else is in your cook kit? Well, unless your stove has an ignition switch, mine does not, you'll want some type of lighter. The Bic Mini is very popular amongst backpackers because it's so small and lightweight. You'll want an eating utensil, and a long-handled spoon is perfect, and you'll find out later in the video why. If you cook directly in your pot, instead of just heating water up in it, you might want a pot scraper to help clean it. Some people carry 2 pots. They'll have a large pot for food and a small pot for coffee. Thru hikers typically only carry 1 pot, with a little bit of exception. If you're only boiling water to rehydrate food, then usually 1 pot is all you need, and you can save the weight of this second pot. If you're just a weekend backpacker where you're going out and coming back, then you might want the luxury of 2 pots. Especially if you're going to cook inside the pot, it's nice to have a larger one. Many of these cook kits will nestle into each other. These are all from Snow Peak. You can see one pot fits right inside the other, and the smaller canister will fit right inside there. So it becomes very compact. Another thing you might want in your cook kit is a koozie. If you're cooking in your pot, rehydrating food in your pot, then the koozie comes in handy to keep the food warm the water warm while it's rehydrating. So you take it off of the stove, put it in the koozie, put a lid on it. This one has a handle and doubles as a skillet. And let your food soak for a while. I have a lip guard on my pot since I drink my coffee right out of here. One thing I like to keep in my cook kit is a little towel. This is kind of like those ShamWow towels that you can get them at Academy or any camp store. They're super absorbent and you don't need probably as big as they come, so I've just cut mine into sections. This is great because it doubles as a hot pad, and when you want to wipe out your pot before you put it away. If you have a spill, they're really absorbent and they dry out fairly well overnight. One other thing you might want in your cook kit is a koozie made for instant backpacking meals. If you're not cooking in your pot, if you're just heating water, then this works just like the koozie in your pot. Both the pouch koozie and the pot koozie are made from reflectants. That's that material that you use on your windshield in your car to help keep the sun out. This actually, I had an old one that didn't fit my new car, and so I cut it up and used it. I've made it so that it has a fold on the bottom and it can stand up with a little effort. If not, I'll have to prop it against something. Now that we've covered the basics of your food kit, let's get into the food. My philosophy with backpacking, and the philosophy of many, many other backpackers' food, keep it light, keep it simple, make it sure it's something you enjoy, and make it non-perishable. If it's your first trip out, and you're just going to go on a weekend, then these little backpacking meals probably are best for first-timers. You can get these backpacker meals, Mountain House, Backpacker's Pantry. This one's called Alpine Air Foods. There's all different brands to pick from. They're very popular, and you can get them at Walmart, you can get them at REI, you can get them at Academy, you can order them online. They're available anywhere. They're very, very simple. You can get single servings in these, but most of the time they come in 2 servings. So if you're out alone, what you can do is take half of it out, put it in a freezer Ziploc bag. The quart size is perfect. Take about half of it out and save the second half for the next night. These are really, really simple. They're designed so that you heat up your water to boiling. All the instructions are right here on the back. You don't have to remember anything. You rip the top off. It's a Ziploc. You open it up, pour your hot water in. You zip it back up and you let everything rehydrate that's inside the pack. You don't need anything else but this. As you can see, they can stand up all by themselves. The instructions do say to stir. You want to stir it so that you get moisture all the way to the bottom, or you're going to have dried up clumps in the bottom. When you think it's done, open it up and check. If everything's kind of crunchy or not really rehydrated, let it set a little bit longer. That's where these pouch koozies come in handy. It traps the heat in and helps you rehydrate that food a little bit quicker or a little bit better. You can eat it right out of the pouch, or if you don't want to get food all over it, you can take it out and eat it out of the pouch without the coop. These are really handy, but they're kind of pricey. You're going to pay anywhere from $6 to $12 a piece for these. If you're just out on a weekend, that might be fine. That might be an expense that you're willing to take for the convenience. But if you're on a through hike, not only are these packets a little bulky to fit 5 or 6 of these into your pack for your evening meals, but they're also quite expensive. If you can imagine being on the Appalachian Trail for 3 months, that can get quite expensive. So there's other things that you could do. Oh, by the way, these instant dehydrated meals come in main courses. This is a honey lime chicken. This is Louisiana red beans and rice, which is vegetarian. You can have desserts. This is mocha mousse pie, and they're really good. This is a breakfast hash. You can use them for breakfast or dinner. But you do want to read the instructions on the back before you purchase them, because most of them you just pour the water in and rehydrate them, but some of them will tell you that you've got to then cook it in your stove. If you're wanting to cook in your pot to make cleanup a little easier, then you might not want to do that. So be sure you read the instructions on the back to make sure whether you can just rehydrate with hot water or if you have to cook that in a pot. Another breakfast that's really quick and easy to hydrate is oatmeal. You can pour water right into the little envelopes. People do that all the time. Doesn't even have to be boiling. If you can slip that a little envelope inside your pot, and that way it gives a little bit more structure. Or you can put your oatmeal. I use 1 minute oats because I find they rehydrate just as well as the instant oatmeal, and it saves a bit of money. And then I can put my own flavoring in here. What about coffee? There's a lot of little instant packs that both Starbucks and Trader Joe's, there's a lot of different brands, and they're not really instant or freeze-dried. They're a micro grind so that you don't have that bitter instant coffee flavor. If you're cooking in your pot, you should bring some type of soap. This is Wilderness Wash. It comes from REI and a lot of other camp stores. It's biodegradable, but you still don't want to take it down to the river and wash your pot in the river. You want to be at least 100 to 200 feet from the river or your water source so that you're not contaminating it. Even though it's biodegradable, it's not. You don't want to drink soapy water, neither do the fish. What if you're ready for the next level? Then let's talk about something cheaper, maybe a little more complicated. So if you're a through hiker, you're not going to be paying $6 to $12 per night to eat out in the woods, because that's just going to be too cost prohibitive. Plus, you're going to have to resupply. You're only going to be able to carry about 5 days worth of food at a time, and the towns that you hike through may not have your backpacking meals like this. So a lot of through hikers just kind of make do with what they can find in convenience stores and grocery stores. A good example is these Knorr pasta sides. These pasta sides are not really dry pasta. They are dehydrated pasta. So they've been cooked and then they've been dehydrated so that they hydrate more quickly. They might have these pasta sides with some tuna or a chicken packet or some jerky or some hard salami, something that's non-perishable. There's a thing called a ramen bomb that hikers like to cook, and it's instant mashed potatoes and ramen noodles. I'm not a fan of ramen noodles, so I cannot tell you what that tastes like. One thing you can mix with your potatoes is maybe some a packet of French's onion soup or some jerky. I wouldn't put tuna with mashed potatoes, but whatever floats your boat. Couscous is very popular for through hikers, and they usually separate a big package of it out into small packages. Couscous is actually a pasta and it cooks, it rehydrates really, really quick. It doesn't need a lot of fuel, and it's kind of a starchy flavor, so you can mix it with all kinds of things. You could instant soup packages, tuna packets, chicken packets, jerky. Also, you can use cheese. You can take cheese on the trail if you're using hard cheese, especially the first 2 or 3 nights. Those Laughing Cow cheeses are great that come in the little plastic. There's lots and lots of videos out there where thru hikers talk about the kinds of meals they like to put together by shopping in the store. You'll see the first night on the trail, they might have stuff that you wouldn't normally pack. They'll take bagels out, or a bag of Cheetos, whatever floats your boat. Whatever is your luxury item when you're cooking, thru hikers will do that on their first night away. But for your day-to-day stuff, you want something that is non-perishable and is not easily squished in your pack. We've talked about breakfast, we've talked about dinner. What do you do in the afternoon? So there's a couple of different philosophies with lunch. So thru hikers usually, they do stop and take breaks. A lot of them like to eat on the go. They want something portable, quick, that they don't have to stop and prepare. It's not uncommon to see thru hikers eat 3 or 4 of these in the afternoon. These are power bars. These are RX bars, but you also, Cliff bars. There's a lot of different brands that are high in calories, protein, and different nutrients. I particularly like to have a power bar with a nut butter spread on top. It seems to be just the right amount of calories to get me through. Other options are people that like to stop and put a little more time into their lunch might bring flour tortillas, and then these make great sandwiches because they're not crushable. They have a fairly decent shelf life. You can roll them up and fit them into your pack. They're very portable. So good options for tortilla sandwiches are tuna and tortillas, peanut butter and tortillas. A lot of people like hard cheese and salami with tortillas because salami is non-perishable. So instead of loading up on 4 or 5 different power bars throughout the day, I like to bring my own trail mix. You can either buy it pre-made, or I tend to make my own so that I can put the things in there that I like and that I know are good for me. And sometimes I just at the last minute throw everything together that we have at the house. If I want something sweet in there too, I know we're going to be doing a lot of miles or climbing, doing a lot of ascents, then I might throw some M&Ms in here because they're great. They don't melt. Most people will keep their snacks for the day and their lunch in a different pocket. They won't put it in their food bag. They might keep it in a hip pocket, or if you've got a pack with a brain, they might keep it in the brain of their pack. Some people keep a fanny pack so they can put their camera and quick accessible items in the front so they can get to it easier. If you're not going to stop to take a break, if you're going to try to hike through your meal and snacks, then that's probably a good idea. So there's one more level to talk about, and that's a little bit of if you like to cook and tinker with recipes, then you can take it even farther. Let's take a look at that. We've already talked a little bit about putting your own meals together out in the backwoods with stuff that you find from the grocery store. But you can actually make your meals well in advance and package them up. This is a package of split pea soup that I put together from dehydrated ingredients that I bought through a company called Harmony House. They sell individual packs or kits with all different types of flavors in there that you can put together into different recipes. This particular kit they make specifically for backpackers. It comes with a rehydration chart telling you how much 1 cup of your product will turn into once it's hydrated, and how much water to add to each one. It also comes with a nice little recipe page, and you can order a recipe book from them. I put together here some split pea soup, and it's important that you try these at home before you take them out on the trail so that you don't have any surprises where you're in the middle of nowhere. I played with the recipe on split pea soup until I liked it, and you know, the packets come with enough food in them that you can make 4 or 5 meals out of one packet. So there's enough in there to experiment. So I put it in a Ziploc bag. This is a freezer bag, a quart size. Put the name of the product of the meal on here and any instructions. You see it says remove the bacon packet, which I have some bacon bits in here. And it needs a long cold soak and then a simmer. That's because I found at home that the rehydrating of the split peas takes a long, long time, more than what you're probably willing to do in camp at the end of the day. So what you can do is add half the water, cold water in the afternoon, let it soak, and then that evening it'll be mostly rehydrated, and then you can add hot water to finish it up and to warm the food up. Or if you want to cook in your pot, you can cold soak it all day, put it in your pot to heat it up. There are lots of different things that you can make your own recipes with at home, and there's lots of people on YouTube that are experimenting with backpacking recipes. It's just a fun thing to do. I think some thru hikers do it because they found the quickest, easiest, lightest, cheapest meal. There's even a few thru hikers I know that eat the same meal every single evening because it's just simpler for them, and then they buy their beans in bulk. They can put a whole thru hike together a little less expensive. It's important that you understand that dehydrated beans are not the same thing as dried beans that you're buying in the grocery store. You know, pinto beans that you cook all night long to get them nice and soft? Dehydrated beans have already been cooked, then they've been dehydrated, and they rehydrate quicker. Another reason it's important to do these at home before you take them out on the trail is that I found that the different beans rehydrate at different rates. While the black beans rehydrated quickly, the red beans took forever. So experiment with them a little bit at home. Well, I've already mentioned couscous, which you can mix with stuff like instant soup or bouillon, bacon bits. You can dehydrate some of your own food. There's lots of videos on YouTube that'll teach you how to do that. You can either do ingredients or you can do entire meals. People like to do spaghetti and then put it in a dehydrator, crumble it up, and put it in package. So the best way to rehydrate these is either in the pot or in a freezer bag. I hope that you've learned enough to feel brave enough to get out on the trail. If it seems too complicated, it doesn't have to be. It can be as easy or as complicated as you want to make it. Don't let anyone tell you that you're wrong for taking a simple dehydrated meal that you picked up at REI. Don't let anyone tell you that you're wrong for making your own concoction and bringing it out and being the camp gourmet. You want to hike your own hike. Happy trails to y'all. See you on the next one.